I'm here today with Dr. Kim LaDuff, and she is the 2012 winner of the IHL's Black History Month Educator of the Year, and we're very proud of Kim. She has done some extraordinary things in her time here at Southern Miss, and we're going to talk to her about her experiences and her vision for diversity on campus and academic success on campus. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It was well deserved, and I was especially honored to be there to talk with you. Tell us about the award and what just winning the award means to you.
It was a great honor. As I said, it was unexpected, so it was a huge surprise, but it was something that I was very excited about because diversity is something that's very important to me. It's an area that I've done research in. It's an area that I've worked in since I was in graduate school, actually. And I think that diversity is so important because being ethical, being good at what you do requires you to interact with people from all backgrounds. The other thing I think is important is to define diversity. That diversity very often is equated with race, but there's so much more to it than that. It's race, it's gender, it's ethnicity, it's all kinds of things. And we need to think about diversity not in terms of what's different, but instead what we have in common and how we can work together and come together in any environment.
You mentioned your research. You've written a book. Now tell me the name of that and tell us a little bit about that.
Along with three colleagues, I wrote a book called Race and News: Critical Perspectives. And essentially what we did, we started this project a few years ago, but it was in the year of the most recent presidential election that we really noticed that there was this sense that everything in America was great. And on some level it was, but there are still many things that we need to work on. And so we looked at stories that were in the news that had to do with race and gender and ethnicity, and essentially looked at how media covers those things, because media has a huge impact on how we perceive others, especially those with whom we're not familiar.
One of the reasons you were selected to win the award was because of your work on diversity on this campus.
Mm-hmm.
Now you are chairing the Southern Miss Diversity Committee.
That's right.
Tell us about the work of that committee.
Well, I'm really excited about the Diversity Committee. We actually had our first meeting in January, and what we've decided to do is we're working in subcommittees at this point, and some of the issues that we're working on include retention of diverse students. We're looking at faculty diversity. We're looking at our relationships with vendors outside of the university campus and our overall curriculum as well.
I've been impressed with how excited the campus is and how the campus has rallied around diversity and seems to hearken to the value. How is all this going to tie together for a better experience for our students, all of our students?
Well, I think one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that, as I said, when you have an understanding of diversity, when you understand that it's not about all of us agreeing all of the time, but being able to have a discussion, I think that's really important. One of the things that I stress in the classroom is that I want us to have a conversation. And what I mean by conversation is that in that classroom, I very often start the discussion by saying we're going to have that conversation that our good Southern families tell us you don't have outside of the household. But the point is that I want us to be able to discuss issues openly, and we may not all agree, but we can respect one another and value one another's opinions.
How do the students respond to that?
They actually respond very well.
Yeah.
At first it's a little bit scary, but I think one of the things that we have to do is develop that sense of trust in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things I'm most impressed by is how often they'll come back and say, I had the same conversation we had in class with my parents or with my grandparents, and it gives family members and people that I wouldn't expect new perspective. I even hear from students who I taught years ago, and they'll have an experience in the workplace or at home, and very often they'll contact me and want to talk about it, and I always encourage that and get really excited when that happens.
Now you've been at Southern Miss how long?
I've been here since 2005.
Okay. So you've been here long enough to have developed a sense of the rhythm of the place. If you could wave a magic wand and maybe just make one change, especially focused around diversity, what would you have?
One of the things that I think is hugely important is that people need to understand Mississippi, that it's not the Mississippi that we once knew or that we heard about in the history books. My experience here has been wonderful. it's one of the things that I hope that the Diversity Committee can do is sort of reestablish or help people understand what a great place Mississippi truly is, and especially Southern Mississippi. We have great resources here. The Katrina Research Center on the coast. We have the Center for Black Studies, Native American Studies, and I'd just like people to know that we have those resources, and this is a great place even for health research. The other thing is we have great people. We have that Southern charm and Southern hospitality, and you can't beat that anywhere.
Thank you. Kim LaDuff.